Come on. Greetings and salutations to all those out there on the interwebs. Welcome to the June Heraldic Decision Meeting for the Kingdom of Meridies. I am your host, the Pen and Herald, Senior Carlos Blanco El Barbero. And with me tonight is a level gaggle of heralds. We have Taryn, why don't we start with you? Introduce yourself.
I'm Taryn the Wayward, Lantern Deputy Herald, Education Deputy.
Ulrich.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ulrich Eisenhand. I am Cipher Pursuivant, which is the internal submissions herald for Meridies.
Matthias.
Hi, I'm Matthias Blackett. I'm Torch Herald from Meridies. I run courts and protocol and precedents.
Rosamund.
Hi, I'm Rosamund Playfair. I'm from the Shire of Drakenmere, and I'm also an at-large herald, as well as herald from my shire.
Solvig.
Oh, hi. I'm a heraldic groupie. I'm dropping in from Ethelmark.
And joining us by chat tonight, we have Miss Elizabeth and Miss Sophia.
Before you start, are you doing 2017-0601?
Yes.
Okay, good. I just pulled it up.
Okay. Took me a second. I was like, wait, no, that's not start date. Okay. So what we have here is, as I have given warning to all these gentles, we have a fairly large letter here if you are looking at it from your computer. But due to most of them being only administrative actions, we do not have to discuss them really whatsoever. So we'll only be looking at either names or armory. We'll be skipping the administrative actions. And
except for the two that we actually have to get rid of because they didn't actually pass at Laurel.
Yes.
I have added notes to those.
I noticed that, so thank you. And that will help me when I get down to my editing. So we'll start right in on a resub device change for Aiden Johans. He wants Gyrony, Azure, and Argent infest point a plate within a border Gyrony counter change.
In my opinion, if you change it to a bezant, there wouldn't be a problem, but the plate's going to be a problem because even though the field is technically neutral, his primary charge is sharing a tincture with the field.
Mm-hmm.
Solvig, I would agree, except for the precedent cited in November 2011 for Atlantia. Comment by Iago Adam. Items with a simple outline on a multi. Let's see what it says. As long as identifiability is maintained, we'll register single tinctured ordinary sharing tincture with a multiply divided field. But with that, the way A3B1 is written, a charge may only share a tincture with the field when both the charge and the field maintain identifiability. I think that we've still got identifiability of the rondelle. Even if it's drawn larger, you're still going to have the edges there.
I have done a redraw and see what you think there then.
Is there a redraw? There's not a redraw on
I just did it tonight.
You mean number 2?
Where is it posted?
Yeah, you should be seeing it on your screen right now because I'm screen sharing.
Oh, you're making it much bigger. That helps a lot.
I think so too. Otherwise, it looks like a sort of a weird saltier that has a bump in the middle.
And that would probably be the way. That's probably the way it would be drawn by most scribes, as it is, making it, since it's the sole primary charge. It's going to be big and bold.
I mean, I still have problems with it, but it's only really identifiable with line art when it's in the submitted version.
Right.
But the huge version is a significant improvement because you can actually see a bit of the shape, the contour of the rondelle against Azure, at least there. So you kind of know what's going on.
As far as heraldic proportions and everything, it was not really done all that well, and so that's why I went and through with the beef up of the rondelle.
Okay. I agree that there is some question of identifiability, but the problem is that we have a precedent that
it gives it a shadow of doubt to go up.
Right. I see the precedent, which makes it a decision that's beyond our pay grade.
Well, yeah, if given the precedent, it has to go up because it's questionable. But if I manage to get myself to comment on the external letter, I will probably comment against it.
Okay.
And I'll probably join you, honestly.
But yeah, the only thing that we have right now is that we do somewhat have a precedent that will allow it to move forward and allow it to have some more discussion with a properly drawn device.
Exactly.
All right.
It's beyond the kingdom pay grade, but we have opinions that we can't return it at this level, but we can definitely make comments above.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to add the precedent in my write-up. All right, so moving on.
Also, I would.
Oh, there is there.
On one, I would actually utilize the blazon from Michael Gerard Coutum.
Yes.
Memory. Gyring Azure and Argent a plate within a border and a border counter change would be fine.
It was kind of traditional.
To put the comma.
Yeah, Michael's got a good place in there.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so we'll use that blazon, which is a more concise blazon to me.
Which will make Bruce happy.
Yeah. So moving on to number 2, we have David Duckworth with a new badge, fieldless on a mullet sable, a barrel argent.
Nobody found conflicts. It looks pretty good to me.
And that is the default position for a barrel, from what I've seen. So no, we have good contrasting. There's no edit. Seeing that we have a comment with no conflict, I see no reason to let it go on up. We have a little bit of a note for grammar that the word "on" should be capitalized.
That's such a minor thing. I'm not even.
Yeah. Right, but when you set it up, you capitalize the beginning. It's okay.
Yeah. So we will send that badge on up. Moving on to number 3, we have another resub device, Deirdre Ingen
Ithweni. That'd be my best guess.
Argent on a pail between the letters D and E. Vert a peacock. Close regardant argent.
I'm going to make my usual gripe about abstract symbols. These are inadequately described in abstract symbols from the standpoint of reproducibility. They should at least drop in some sort of name of what this style of writing is, so the heraldic artist knows what to draw. Bruce will of course object, but that's what Bruce always does.
Yeah, I agree with Solveig, putting them in, and they can yank them out later if they want to.
So we just add Lombardic D and Lombardic E.
Right. You just have to say Lombardic once. You just say the Lombardic letters D and E.
Yeah.
And capital.
Yes, the capital Lombardic letters D and D.
Mhm.
Which is which Michael Gerard added that we needed to make sure that we understood that they were capital letters.
Right, and add in that they are in the Lombardic hand.
So
Right.
you just say the capital Lombardic letters D and E, and that'll tell the heraldic artist what to do.
And the default for a peacock is close, so we remove the word close and just state that she is argent.
Is default close on a peacock?
Yes, somebody stated it in the commentary. I think it was Michael of the short memory. Kurt Memoir.
Yeah. Birds typically of this type typically are close, and then
That's right. A peacock in its pride is a specified posture. Never mind. That was where my brain was going. We're good.
Okay. Yeah, we need to add from his. We need.
Oh, Lombardic.
We can
Now,
drop.
is it Lombardic or is it Lombardic uncel?
Unseal?
Uncel, yeah.
I'm actually.
it's Lombardic uncel because there's a bunch of different uncels and stuff, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Just want to be just want to make sure I was capital. Okay. All right. Have added that to the new blazon as well. Lucius found no comments, no conflicts. So we'll go ahead and let it go up as well.
I'll tell you who that is.
Hmm?
Karen.
All right. Moving on to number 4.
Lawrence.
Did
Yeah, that's probably correct.
Jern Bronson?
Oh, Frida checked it. It's okay.
Durangi Bjornsson.
Say that again.
Durangi Bjornsson.
It's probably
Uh,
Drengi.
Go
But-
back.
I've met this guy.
Yeah.
He pronounces it like Ferengi, but with a D.
Durangi Bjornsson. All right.
Yeah.
New name and device. Let's stick with the name. Freed gave some wordings. The submitting herald saw the comments, went to the submitter, and the submitter has changed it to where Durangi is spelt still the same, but Bjornsson is spelt with an A now.
Well, it's Bjarnarsson.
Bjarnarsson.
Yeah,
He's taking the first option provided by Freed.
Right.
right. It has to be in the correct genitive. But whatever Freed says is almost certainly correct.
Right. I'm just glad somebody understood Freed this time. I have a heart. Sometimes he puts things up there, and I'm like, it's like a total information overload, and I don't understand it whatsoever.
You know, Freed's off in Australia working on her doctorate. We're Facebook friends,
Yep.
and she's really good. So
Freed commenting on an Old Norse name is kind of like Solvik commenting on a Japanese name.
Too much.
For so we'll go ahead and change it to what the submitter has agreed to, and we'll move on to the device. Which is Argent.
yeah,
Within an oral, 2 badger hounds rampant adores tails entwine and achieve a Norris Suncross vert. Lucian again did a double check, found no conflicts. And Taryn, if you see anything that you know is kind of standing out, please let me know.
I think the Badger Hound is actually a period dog. I mean, people always check dog breeds once they go out of kingdom. And I think the Badger Hound is basically the predecessor of the Dachshund.
Right. Which Michael Gerard is saying that it should, the Blazon should probably look more like Argent, 2 Badger Hounds, rampant adorse, tails entwine, and in chief a Norris Sun cross and an oral vert.
Well, I say within an oral vert, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Within in chief
Within.
and Norse within an oral.
Drop the comma, add within.
Mm-hmm.
Drop the comma, add within.
And wow, we're actually booked tonight. Lucian just messaged me and says he can't get in.
You want me to drop out?
No, ma'am. I am not asking anyone to drop out. So
We always appreciate your company, Solvi.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
all right. So all right. So,
I will comment on the dogs here that the depiction that they're using are very obviously dachshunds. They're probably going to get rephrased as badger hounds. That's a pretty modern depiction of a badger hound. The period depiction's not quite that.
Yeah, but is it to the point of being returnable for the art? I suspect it's not.
I don't think it is, but I honestly don't know. Really, I don't know because
And the badger hound and the dachshund are, as I recall, related.
right.
Dachshund means badger hound in German.
Basically,
A Dach is a badger.
Right, but let me see something.
And Bruce's artwork is not
a-
always the best anyway.
It is a decidedly modern depiction of a dachshund and not a period depiction, but I don't see that distinction is beyond us to make here.
yeah, and they're not being called dachshund within the Blazon. They are flat out calling them badger hounds.
Yeah,
Right. And exactly. It is well beyond our pay grade.
yeah. I mean, the emblazoned would ideally be more like raggedy, hairy, that sort of thing. Bruce's pictic smooths animals out excessively, but I think that this particular art quibble is definitely beyond Kingdom pay grade, and it'll probably make it through Laurel.
It'll probably get an artist note or something to that effect.
Yeah, probably an artist note.
So, but I don't see any problem with it.
But yeah, but with the change to name and a change to the Blazon, it shall move on. All right, number 5 and number 6 are an administrative issue, and they are blanket permissions to conflicts. So we will skip them as we do not need to talk about them. So we'll move on to number 7. Ferdinand Toro is asking for a new badge. They're looking for fieldless, a bull rampant sable charged on its haunches with a bee oar.
Technically legal. It should go up. I will probably object to about how the bee disappears on the thing when it goes at Laurel level.
On the haunches, I mean
that's a good place to
odd
put it.
placement for a tertiary charge, but either the haunch or the shoulder is you see both. The shoulder is usually much more prevalent because, especially on a rampant beast, you can get a little bit larger. But yeah,
I'm thinking the bee is small as well.
Well, yes, the bee should be bigger. But on the other hand, it doesn't have a whole lot of place to go. If the bull were bigger, the bee could be bigger.
The bull doesn't have room to be bigger either, though.
Yeah,
he can be broader, but he can't be taller.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it pretty well in the
blow it up.
Yeah.
Well,
This is unfortunately the issue we have because of using the English cadency laws that we are using. This gives us the point. I mean, this is something that's done. Quite honestly, I'm not a big fan of excessively complex charges being used in this manner. Most of the charges that were used in period were things like, they were very common charges. I mean, an escallop, a rose, a crescent, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
At least they were expected as charged. Some of those are kind of complex. I mean, roses are kind of complex, but they come from a vocabulary of tertiaries.
Right. A very specific set of them that are used, not just anything we're going to put on willy-nilly.
But that's what we're doing. That's how the rules currently work.
But that's the rules currently allow for this. So
we have to. It has to go up to Laurel. It can be bitched about at Laurel level and that sort of thing, but not here, unfortunately.
Yeah. Beyond our, it's clear by the rules as we read them. Looks to be send it up.
I just wanted to ask. I don't think it's an issue, but it is probably a cant on Ferdinand the Bull. Ferdinand the Bull, because it was the bee stinging him that made. But I don't think it's obtrusively modern. I think
it was the same. It was the same discussion when his name and device went through.
They had that same discussion when they did his name and device.
I remember.
I'm the consulting herald on this. He's in my local group. They had the same discussion, and they decided that the name and the device, which the device was also a cant on Ferdinand the Bull. There's a bull sitting under a tree.
Yeah, I thought.
Well, Ferdinand Toro is a bit twee, but on the other hand, it doesn't get to the point of having to be booted. And obviously, it got registered already.
Yeah. So
apparently, they argued for half an hour in the Laurel meeting over whether or not it was obtrusively modern.
I don't think it's so much obtrusively modern. It is kind of obtrusively silly.
We registered somebody's name that was a reference to My Little Pony.
Yeah.
That's what this is reminding me.
A well-known herald in Meridies. So,
and it's better that he does it now because there is a movie coming out on Ferdinand. So if he does it now, this new generation won't be too much into Ferdinand as of yet. Okay, so we'll go ahead and
send it up. Have to wait a while.
You make it an article if it does get registered.
Come on, I registered a blue sun. Not everybody can get the reference.
A blue sun? No.
It's a fire.
Yeah, I've got a blue sun eclipsed argent. But that was registered like 25 years ago or something.
So we'll move on.
Mine was registered last year.
We're sending it up, and we're moving on to number 8, which is Gavin Morris, new device per chevron throughout Azure and Poly, Gules and Argent, a Logins ore.
It's very nice, actually.
It's very nice heraldry. I do not believe we need to change the blaze into putting it in base because that item is in the dead center of the field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's absolutely no point in just saying in base. It is centered.
Yes,
there's nowhere else to put it.
Yeah,
you can put it.
I mean, it's not in base. That would just be false.
Yeah.
It could be slightly higher. The center of it. Okay, yeah. I mean, technically, you might say it's in base because the center axis of our diamond is below the fest line. And it's noticeably below the fest line, so leaving base in, it doesn't really matter. Bruce may or may not argue to take it out, but technically it's correct.
So what Michael Gerard said is you're saying let's add in base and then they can take it out again if they want to.
Yeah, it's better to it's better to cover the client or the submitter right now and let Laurel and Reef decide no that didn't really need to be there.
Okay. Oh, we get to jump down to number.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, buckle your seatbelts because we are falling down the list, going down and down and down and down. Down.
Hold on. What about
And then
number
we
9?
stop right here.
Number 9?
Number 9.
Okay.
I thought we were on 16. Just 9?
No, we're gonna make a
Read
stop
my
at.
comment for number 9.
Read your comment for number 9. Okay, Lucian.
Already registered.
Lambert's
These are
ruining
all
all of our
already
fun.
registered, but a couple of the names on the letter don't match what's registered.
Oh, yeah, it does need to be Order of Atalanta of Gladenfeld.
Yes, it does.
And number 10, we need to remove the apostrophe.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of grammar foo that needs to be done to match everything up.
Yeah,
Right.
those were the only 2 that had the issue, except for the one that wasn't registered, which
is
got
number
withdrawn. So.
Yeah, which is number 13, which will make that go bye-bye.
Okay, now we can go down to 20.
All right.
Yay.
Thank you for doing that work for us, Lucian.
And you need to remember to remove number 13 from the list.
Yes, that's what I said. All right.
And the corresponding one for the acceptance for
Right.
for the Meridies one, whichever number that.
Anyway, 20 is not bad either, except I'd make the Cairo a bit beefier.
Yeah, so we're moving down to number 20, ladies and gentlemen. Yes,
yeah.
Elizabeth, lots and lots of orders. That was a very impressive letter that we had to go through to get those orders.
Actually, I'd have 2 artist notes on 20 because the embattlement should be a little beefier too. You don't need to have as many little bits there. It could make them beefier.
But yeah,
But that's artist note stuff.
yeah. Let's actually get it into the record. We have Godric Morris. New device, per fess embattled ghouls and sable, a lion passant gardent, and a chiro or
Cairo.
Okay, I have a question because I have a client who wants to mash 2 runes together. You're allowed to do it for Greek? No,
you're not in general allowed to do it in Greek. What this is a specific icon that has been used for over 1,000 years.
This was a symbol used by the Roman military in period.
And there's actually a Laurel precedent that specifically states that you can use this charge.
Excellent.
This is a very a very specific Christian iconography.
Yeah, I think mixing 2 runes, that's how you get Bluetooth.
Kid's 16 and he's taking all college classes. I'm working with him.
But anyway, it should get an artist note. The bumpities should be more fewer and more butch. The Cairo should be more butch. But you may not need unless I'm trying to remember right. Our lions, I think lions are default rampant, so I think you do need to say butts off.
Yeah, we need to specify the posture on this one, but otherwise we're good.
And this garden, but it's lovely.
Yeah, it's a very.
Now, here's another question: the paw that is up, I haven't seen that on passant before. Is that an issue?
No, that's a pretty standard. Actually, it's a pretty standard depiction from England.
Okay.
I mean, it's practically ripped off of the English, of the Queen's arms, except not very well drawn.
Yeah.
This particular one I pulled from the Penzic traceable art.
Okay.
It's a nice happy draw. It's a nice happy lion.
It is really. He's sticking his tongue out and everything. It's great.
And he's waving. He's saying, "Hey,
guys!"
And I'm going to stop us for 1 minute because Elizabeth is saying that they have one order that is not mentioned that we will need to submit. Which order is that? Going back to the long list of orders.
There's a missing order.
There was one that got returned
The one that got, yeah.
Order of the Lead block. It got returned straight off by Laurel as soon as we sent it up before it even went into proof pass.
And then it went to. There was one they had withdrawn as well.
Trouble with lead block is I don't think it matches any of Juliana's.
That
we
was
tried, but
that was
the
reason they gave for returning it.
Yes, it was that one that was withdrawn. All right, I'll watch the chat and see. All right, moving on to 21. Garen.
Grania.
Huh?
Grania.
Grania Makuli. We had a couple of
The collie or whatever.
Yeah. They are suggesting we do not register the shortened version of MC. But we do, so it's going to have to be the full spelled out MAC CAULE for registrations. So I will have to get with the client about that.
So once it's registered, she can abbreviate MC if she wants to. That's period.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a scribal abbreviation, but it's not the full form. That's why it has to be changed for going up. But the name itself should be pretty good. I mean, they found it in Family Search, but if the record in Family Search was the abbreviated version.
Working in response to Lucian's comment here, the spelling that you put up here was the spelling that I originally got, but it wasn't documented. And Macaulay, as it was documented right here, was how I could find documentation for it.
Okay, here's what you guys should probably do. Okay. Does the client have the boxes of doom checked or not on the form? If they allow changes, especially minor changes, just send it up with the existing spelling, and then
the existing spelling is what I got permission from the submitter to put on the letter.
Right. They did not check the boxes of boom.
They didn't have McAuliffe in the Gaelic spelling documented on the form.
Right, but if we send it up like this at the society level, they might have people that are Gaelic name experts that can document this Gaelic version. So as long as she didn't check the box with no changes, then they can find this version and change it for her.
I would say add a note that was her original spelling, and clear it with her first, but say that if that spelling is available, that's what they prefer.
Okay.
That shouldn't be an issue.
But the client's original spelling should go up. I mean, that's something Juliana impressed upon me years ago. At least in at the top of the docs section, that you say originally proposed as, just put it at the top, and then it'll make it onto and put that in the external letter.
But yeah, so
I got you. No,
and that way they'll know when they get it that this was what their submitter originally intended, but we can find the documentation for it. So please help.
What about the issue with the? Oh, we have to finish the name. I'm sorry.
I actually pulled up the precedents that he gave here, and I'm looking it over right now.
I ran into that with a number of my people. If you registered it long enough ago, MC was okay, but they did change it to say it has to be MAC.
Currently, you have to do MAC.
But do we have to document it with the MAC too?
No,
because the MC is just a scribal abbreviation.
Okay,
the citation, the Family Search is a good one as long as it's the correct batch number and that's an M batch, and that looks like one of the permissible M batches to me.
Yeah, it's not 17 or 18, so it's good. And it's before 1650.
Okay, all right. So we don't need to change the documentation, but just possibly add the A. And then
right, but that's something that can be done up at lower level. I mean, you don't have to do anything to this if you don't want to.
All right, so then we'll go ahead and let the name go up. So let's move on to device. Argent, a chevron vert between two lions, combatant, and a dexter hand opami ghouls.
I think it's nice.
It is nice. Some people are wondering if the chevron is too low.
Let's see. The tick marks. It is on the low side, although it's being crowded by the lions. Technically, it should be higher, but I think it's probably below you guys' pay grade to return this thing.
I'm looking over, and I think what I'm seeing is that the charges is forcing it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So because if you bring it up.
The precedent says that the chevron should be in the same place if there are 3 charges, because the 3 charges shouldn't crowd it. Basically, if you change the angle of the lines, you can still move the point higher without moving the 2 charges.
Well, yeah, if you made them running up the chevron instead of standing on top of the chevron, yeah, you can move the chevron higher.
Closer to their waist. Yeah.
I think.
But I think that's still an artist note land. I think the intent is absolutely obvious from the current emblazon. I don't think the chevron is so low that it can be returned locally.
Okay.
Of course, I may be totally wrong.
Yeah, because I'm almost wondering if you change the chevron in any way or change the lines in any way, if you'll run into what we have a problem with another submission down the road is the lines become unidentifiable. So
I would also recommend at least a mention of concern for presumption on this.
Yes, too.
The red hand.
Yeah, but it's in there with all the other stuff. And I don't think the red hand is a restricted charge, is it?
The red hand of Ulster is specifically when it is in on an Argent Canton or in a scutcheon.
But it's not. It's just in base.
Correct. And it's not.
I realize it's not, but you combine that with the Gaelic, with the name, and you may wind up crossing into that presumption void.
Yeah, it might, but it's in base. I think at this point it's still beyond.
Is that hand?
It's beyond our pay grade. It's something it would be something to say we are concerned about.
Yeah,
Let me ask this: is that hand a dexter hand?
It's not a dexter hand. It's a sinister hand, and that's specific to the red hand of Ulster is a sinister hand upon me ghouls on Argent Canton or in a scutcheon.
Because
it is a sinister hand. It matches
British baronets.
Well, because what we have here is a dexter hand. So
no, it's a sinister hand.
No, that's a sinister hand.
The thumb is on the left. What?
That's a sinister hand upon me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So their blazon is incorrect too.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a sinister hand.
But since it's a sinister hand and it's in base, it's not an issue with the red hand of Ulster.
It wouldn't. It's not an automatic presumption. Not an automatic presumption, but adding that with the
the combination. They get twitchy when you put things in combination.
You
can run that thing by registering them separately. I mean, you change your name and you get it right back, and anyway.
Yeah.
Now,
of course, it won't matter if they kick it back for the chevron being too low.
The most they do at that point is an artist note.
So here's my question for this device. They blazoned it as a dexter hand, but they drew it as a sinister hand.
We always go with the emblazon, so we correct the blazon.
Now here's the question: it's also a palmy. Would that not switch the orientation of the thumb?
This hand is a palmy.
This is a sinister hand upon me.
My
Carlos,
question is,
Look at your left hand in front of you.
We make the words match the picture. We don't make the picture match the words.
That's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is, do we know for sure that the submitter actually wanted a sinister hand, or did they want a dexter hand?
Did they ever see the picture?
Approved the drawing.
This is the picture that the submitter sent me.
Then they just don't know how to blazon things. It is a sinister hand upon me.
Okay.
Yes.
So change the blazon, send it up, and make a comment or not.
Right. Now, it's the hand of what?
Red hand of
ULST.
Ulster.
Hold on. Just let Taryn talk. US.
ULSTER.
ULSTLR.
TER. I'll type it in the chat.
Okay.
It's a region in Ireland, if I remember correctly. ULSTER, something like that.
Yes, you have to bear with me. My spelling is nowhere near where it should be. Okay. All right. So I will.
Oh, Sophia, thank you for sending the
URL.
The URL, yeah, so we can look it up.
And
according to the Wikipedia, it doesn't matter if it's a left or right hand version. They're both.
They're both used. Which makes sense.
Yeah, it's being able to see it from a distance. You wouldn't necessarily be able to see which side the thumb was on.
Well, you probably would be able to tell, but still, people are not going to necessarily be all that,
Yeah, so I'll send it out with a correction that it's a sinister hand, that we have an artist note on the chevron, and that a possible presumption with the red hand of Ulster. Moving on to number 22. We have Heather Ingen O'Brien.
Yeah.
Ingen O'Brien.
She is from the clan of Brian. I was her herald of record for the name, and she worked with another herald, her Shire herald, for the device for the first submission, and with me. But for this one, she worked with him, and I think he's moved out of Shire. So if you need,
and she really likes bottlenose dolphins, obviously.
Yeah, if you need me to contact her, I can do that.
Well, what we have here is people are wondering, and this is a resub, ladies and gentlemen, not a new device. Not a new device. People are wondering about the contrast.
I am not a fan of low contrast field divisions, especially with complex lines of division. And this thing has a complex line of division. It looks a lot better in the color corrected version, but we're really not supposed to pay attention to that one.
There was a device that actually I think it's the one that we have linked. Yes, linked here.
Oh, here's the Badgers.
Yeah.
Yes. That was registered in 2013. That is Cena rules. That's the only one though that is registered. There are two registered. This one and one from 1984. The
difference between that one and the one that we're trying to register is that the line of division is much more pronounced than the one that was registered. So
yeah, there's many fewer bumps, and they're much taller.
Yeah, so it's
it could be an artist note.
It may be, if it's registerable at all, because that I will tell you the purple and blue complex lines have been a touchy subject for a very long time.
So it's risky. I mean, it probably has to go up because it is questionable.
Yeah,
but
above our pay
I
grade.
think there's a good chance it'll be returned.
So, and I'm going to have to duck out, folks.
Okay.
Oh, bye.
So
take care, Taryn. Get some
All right, Taryn.
get some rest, all right, bro?
all right, take care.
Night.
They also, we had somebody wondering about unity rule.
No, this does not apply. The thing is the dolphins all have the same posture, which is the default posture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
And
they're in a regular, or they're in a standard arrangement, which is basically a chevron, and the escallop is in the default or orientation. So everything is in its defaults, and even before the changeover in wreath, which just happened, they were being fairly lenient when everything was in its default. And the trend is, as of this last weekend, of course, that they're going to be much more permissive about posture and orientation. I don't think that's a reason for return at Kingdom.
Okay.
I don't even think that'll get returned at the Laurel level. The only issue that I am concerned about is the line of division.
And I think if we add an artist note to say to draw the division a little beefier, I think that would help. That may help just a little bit.
Yeah.
I think one of the things I think we're following here is as much as standardized as Crayola crayon is and everything. I think what we fall into is a lot of times Crayola crayon is just the Crayola marker for purple is just too dark sometimes.
That's quite possible, although they may not have used the Crayola markers. They may have used something else for the purple bit. I don't know. I can't tell what they used from the uncolor corrected version. But the computer recognizes it as purple.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll send it up with an artist note about beefier complex line, and we'll go from there.
Okay. So you don't need me to contact her. The only reason we contact her is to do a redraw if we make an artist note that we want it to be, we recommend a redraw with.
Yeah, I think what we're going to do is send this up with just an artist note, just to because she's already had one return, just to give her a benefit of a doubt, get her up there to let a higher pay grade look at it.
Let somebody else be the bad guy.
Oh, definitely. I really don't think this warrants a local return.
Excellent.
Too many
Okay. So we'll move on to number 23.
Sophia will be interested in this one.
Okay, Matthias, help me out here.
Profen or Flakar.
Okay, I can say Harfin. So
Profen or Flakar.
Orfakar?
Orth-Lakar.
The
N is a TH.
soft TH.
Orfakar.
Yeah.
The N is a hard TH. The thorn is a soft.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So that's the voice TH then. Okay.
Yeah, the N is a voice TH.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we have here is for the name, there is a correction because the name on the form is the corrected spelling, which is what Freed was wondering about.
Yes.
That was a transcription
Probably
error.
right again.
Yeah.
Check please be in Vinegarson. There is also the old Norse dictionary out there, which we really don't have time here at the meeting to check.
There wasn't a typo in Gary Bossi. There was a typo in the transposing of the transfer onto digital.
Yeah, the document was correct and the source was correct. It's just
and the form was correct, but Cipher was
Cipher
not.
put it in. He put 2 Ks and 1 R instead of 1 K and 2 Rs. It's easy fix.
So they'll get corrected when it goes up then?
Yes.
Oh, that's no problem then.
Yeah.
Please note Elizabeth's comment. She thinks of Hitchcock's The Birds.
But they didn't have boats.
I made that comment when he brought it to me at Artsy Crown at the console table.
And wasn't the main birds in that movie really seagulls and lovebirds?
They were seagulls.
Yeah.
He also mentioned that drawing it was going to be murder.
It's a murder of crows. Or
of course.
There's a parliament of crows.
Well, I have to go, folks. That was the last one I had to keep an eye on. Thank you so much for permitting me to join you. And
you're welcome.
Thanks for stopping by.
Bye-bye.
And before I go, Elizabeth, your name, it does not have to be registered in the SCA before you start using it. You can use it now. Just wanted you to know. Okay. Thank you all. Goodbye.
All right. So let's go ahead and get the official.
Ermine is bad enough. Why on earth would you want a semi of ravens?
Well, semi ravens is kind of cool, but there should be fewer of them, and the ravens should be much more identifiable. I mean, making them black helps identifiability, but in principle, you can make any other bird black as well. Ravens should be kind of hairy and stuff like that. So these are really hard on the identifiability front.
I believe the reason why there are so many of them, and this was, I overheard this at the consult table, was that in order for us to call it a semi of ravens, or to call it semi of ravens, we had to have at least 6 full-size, complete birds in the field.
So get rid of the peripheral birds and make the 6 that you have, a lot bigger.
Well, if you do that, it's not a semi of birds anymore.
No,
it's
it's
6
still a
birds.
semi.
No, in default, it would be. It would be 6. It would be just 6 ravens.
6 the cutoff or 7 the cutoff.
Yeah.
You can probably squeeze
7 or more is the cutoff for semi.
What is?
I believe 7 or more.
Yeah. There should be a way of squeezing in 7 birds that are bigger.
I don't think so.
I personally don't see an issue with the way it is right now.
I think there's an issue with identifiability of the birds.
Sophia's asking if we can specify Norse ravens.
Oh, good God. That makes it worse.
We could, but that would require a redraw.
Now, one thing, is volant default to upward, or are we going to have to say volant to dexter?
They're going to dexter is default.
Okay, cool.
Volant to dexter is the default for volant.
All right, cool.
I believe that flying up is ascending or rising or.
Oh, we can look it up. Let's see. Oh, dear God.
And again, when you blow it up, they look like ravens to me when you look at the larger image.
And I mean, even looking at it with that small image, you can tell that they're birds and that they're flying.
Yeah, you can tell that they're birds, and you can tell that they're flying. Unfortunately, their birds get put first of all get put into categories, but even within categories, there are differences called between different kinds of birds. So you really have to make your birds at least somewhat identifiable.
I can tell that that it's not a raptor and it's not a waterfowl.
I can't tell it's not a raptor. It's probably not a
They definitely don't look like eagles to me.
Even though you really don't know.
They definitely don't look like falcons or eagles to me.
The longer beak makes me see ravens. If the beak were shorter or more
curved,
pointed, yeah, more. If the beak were more curved, then I could see an argument for them looking like raptors.
If you look at the colored version, you really cannot discern a beak. All you really get is a pointed head. Let's see.
Well, I'm going to let Laurel make that decision.
Okay, all right. I'm curious. Restricted charges, reserved charges.
But we're going to change the blazing up a little bit to Argent Semi-Arabians, Ravens, Volant, Sable on a Chief Azure, a Darkar, or Trags and Sails Argent. So basically.
Okay. Ravens have a default color. If you don't even have to blazon them as Sable.
Somebody can even take out the word sable.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or you could call them proper if you want to, but basically, oh, sorry, that's the proper, conventional proper. You can call them proper instead of sable, which would be kind of cool.
Okay.
And
might as well, since you got to change the blazon anyway.
Right.
Let's see, postures.
Because there's only one sail.
Yeah.
And
I was told that the color of the targes and the sail are blazonable, but they don't count towards difference.
Correct. That's what we both were told.
Right. There's nothing funky going. They've not put anything on the sail, so you can ignore it.
Okay. So moving on to number 24.
24.
We
got a flower.
Yes, we have a resub device from Isabella Du Bois.
All those poor urban spots are hiding. They have problems.
One thing that we have is that this is not it's not a quadrifoil.
No, it's
like
not.
they're saying it's definitely a flower. It's a mustard flower. So we will change that in blazon. A little bit, yeah. It does look a little bit on fire.
I like the redrawing that was done below. It's a lot. It's
no,
a lot
that
more
was
identifiable.
that was what was originally done and sent back because it was wrong. Laurel sent it back.
That's so sad.
Additionally, the low number of ermine spots does not also it did not also allow us to blazon this as an ermine field, and we have to reblazon the number and position of the ermine spots accordingly.
Well,
so Laurel wanted more ermine spots.
Well, in order to blazon as ermine, but the thing is they could. I don't understand why they didn't simply reblazon it because
the bordure was messed
the bordure is
up.
a problem, but the ermine spots themselves did not have to be redone because that problem could be fixed by blazon. Is it no longer?
Actually, they did reblazon it according to the. It says, additionally, the low number of ermine spots did not allow us to blazon this as an ermine field, and we have reblazoned the number and position of the ermine spots accordingly.
Precisely.
But the submitter wants a ermine field.
Ermine field.
So they actually want to have lots of spots.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you're sure of that. Okay. The poor spots are hiding though.
But yeah, so we'll have to go back and change it to a mustard field. We had a close call, but we're finding about 4 different DCs.
Yeah.
I have problems with identifiability of the urban spots, but who knows? They usually don't dislike sending things back twice. I mean,
I have to agree with Iago that we need to add that this flower has been seeded.
Yes, I'm using that blazon.
Yeah, it's seeded ore. Iago's correct.
Yes. So that's how I was getting the. It's not a quadrifold from his.
It's a mustard flower.
Yeah. So with that reblazon, we'll send it up. Okay.
Oh my.
We go on to number 25. Catalina de
Catalina de Catalea.
Yeah. A resub device. This one has somewhat of a history. I wish Kaylin was here actually to help us with that. It's per pale sable and ore on a pall of vines, vert a rose argent. Cipher, this is what, the fourth time?
Fourth, I believe.
I think the blazon is going to get fiddled with because those are not singular vines for that pall. Those are actually double vines, and they're basically nowed. But I think it's still blazonable.
And the grapevines, based on the leaves on the vines.
Yeah.
And we do have a pre-Cena. And looking at the pre-Cena submission, yeah, I would agree that it's not a single vine. Although in the blazon it does say vines. It does say the plural.
Well, yeah, but there's really obviously in the emblazoned pairs of vines, and you could easily argue that if you simply said vines, well, since it is a pall, it could not be a single vine. You'd have to have these vines coming together. So I think that maybe drop in pairs of entwined vines. And what was the type of vine was this again?
Grape.
You know, pairs of grapevines.
Yeah.
Nowed, you know. Basically, Bruce can rip out all the emblazon you want, but I think going up, it should have as precise as a blazon as possible.
A pair of entwined grapevines in pall.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you look at Mistholm, the picture depicted for vine is this exact grapevine, and the blazon says 2 grapevines entwined. So, except they're festwise and throughout on the.
So even Bruce is saying there's a pair of vines and not a single vine.
Could you send me that link right quick?
Working on it.
Yep.
There you go.
Thank you. So let's see here. Copy. And it's now going to be it's now going to be on a pill of two grapevines entwined. And that even sounds more heraldically correct. And Lucian, you did not find any conflicts or anything?
Nope.
Well, then she is finally going to be able to make it to Laurel level.
Woo!
Yay!
All right, so let's move on to 26.
Halfway there.
Marco Johnny is with what we have for the name, and they also have a device for the names. The docs pretty much check out.
Juliana did that, and the other
one's an RL.
Italiano. They're both Italian, 16th century. It looks like so. Let's see. It'll get a good name comment probably.
Yep.
How's that? Is that the default pointy direction for swords?
No, there was some conversation about that. Kirk is saying that it should probably be per chevron, inverted gules and sable, a polypus, and on a chief embattled argent, a rapier, festwise reversed sable.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, because the point is facing the sinister side of the shield, not the dexter side.
Iago's saying festwise isn't strictly necessary in the blazon, since skinny charges on a chief default to that direction, but looking through O and A, it is sometimes included. More so when the sword is reversed, but not consistently even thin. I suggest going forward with the propose. The festwise can always be removed at a later step.
Precisely. So, if Bruce wants to gripe about it being described as festwise, then Bruce can gripe about it.
Yeah. So, I will say, even though I could not pronounce the name, this is actually one of my submissions. So,
let's see, it's probably you, honey, or something like that.
Butchering names is what heralds do best.
Yes, the name is actually in the where did I find it? It's basically Johannes or Johans. It's when you go to the link, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the fifth header down. So
all those Italians trying to be German.
Yeah.
They know what's what.
They do.
So we'll use the new blazon, send it up, and see if they like it better.
Yeah, the chief. Yeah, the chief could be a little fatter, but it's kind of that was squished the octopus. So anyway, yeah.
Okay, number 27, Marcus Rowan. New name and new vice. This one, ladies and gentlemen, no major changes. But I don't think we have any problem with the name as it is.
I don't think there's a problem with the name, but boy, that beast, that monster on the device has problems. It is teeny.
And they are recommending not using the word the name Cerberus, but instead a 3-headed dog.
Yeah, because those are registered in the ONA. There's a few of them in there, but there are no Cerberuses registered.
But
I guess it would be Cerberi.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that they're insisting on having the three-headed dog ramp Conturney, because there would be a lot more space for it to ramp in the ordinary direction, or just anyway.
Yeah, we've certainly has a lot more space to go the other way.
Yes, but I think what it is I think they have it. I think they're wanting the three-headed dog to be wanting the cup or guarding the cup or something, and so that's why they have it looking at it. Because I can almost see a story was in the way that's done.
Very likely, but it's really cramping a three-headed dog, which makes it unfortunate, Armory. Whether it's unfortunate enough for a return by Wreath, I don't know. But I will probably comment about his misfortune when it goes up.
Because I know, and the larger versions, in the larger versions, they are still still recognizable.
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought it was funny. I've been complaining about recognizability when looking at small version for a few years, and every once in a while, somebody would say, "No, look at the blown up version." And then on Sunday, he said, "No, something. Look at this. Look at when it's shrunk." so funny. Anyway, I think the thing is the small version is kind of how it looks when you look at it across the feast hall or the battlefield or something like that. So I actually think the small versions are more representative of how the things look in real life. Besides, my eye is about 6 inches from the screen anyway.
Now, I will ask this point. On this one, the tail is a snake.
Is the tail supposed to be a snake on it? Oh, wait a minute. Is that a snake tail on that dog?
That is a snake tail on that dog.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, you're right.
So that makes it more of a monster. So that would be a snake-tailed three-headed dog.
At this point, would that be a blazonable difference?
It's so
small that I don't think it's really going to be a blazonable difference.
Technically, well, it is a blazonable difference. Whether it is a difference for conflict, and technically it probably is.
Again, I think it's one of those things. It might be safer to put it in there.
Oh, it has to go in there.
So
if you want that tail to be a snake, and you're right, it looks like it does have a snake head.
You don't see that again. That's something you don't see until you blow it up.
No, I can even see if I look really close at the small version. Yeah, it's a snake head, but I certainly didn't notice it until you've mentioned it. But technically, it has to go there in the blazon because it's in the emblazon.
All right, so a snake-tailed three-headed dog.
Yeah, rampant Conturney. And it's all squished. Anyway.
All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, we get to do the time warp again following the additions that we need to do from where we talked about earlier.
Wait a second. You have to say on a sun, sable, a chalice ore. You've got to mention the sun before the chalice because the sun is
in the reblazon. It does say that.
Oh, in the reblazon. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have looked down further.
Yeah. on a reblazing, it does say that. It says the reblazing is per bin embattled argent and ghouls in bin sinister on a sun sable, a chalice or and a snake-tailed three-headed dog salient concurrent conturning argent.
Argent. Actually, the legs are pawing. Front legs are pawing, but both the back legs are down. I guess salient. It's sort of a cross between salient and rampant, actually. Some people argue that salient was just a variety of rampant. You might want to make it rampant instead of salient.
If one of the hind legs was a little bit higher than the other, I would
agree. The hind legs should be up for rampant.
Yeah,
but it's not a good salient either.
It looks to me like both back legs are on the ground and both front legs are up, which would be salient.
Well, they are definitely on the. They are definitely on the same plane.
If given a choice, I'd definitely say that's salient.
The front legs are not really in a salient posture. They're more in a rampant posture. The hind legs are definitely in a salient posture. Oh, well. Bruce can whine about it one way or the other.
All right. But as I said, moving on, we saving the changes that we have from the previous time warp. We time warp again all the way down to 38. Where we have a resub name and device.
Nothrian McConnell.
Yes, they are still trying to get this the Nothrian or the Nothri. It was returned because the source that they used mixed human and mythological names without giving proof if the name was ever used by humans. So they have given another source.
No, they have not.
Is it the same source?
It looks like another source, but if you actually look at the source, the original source that source used was the same source that he tried to use the first time.
So he used the source of the source.
He used something that was citing his original source.
Yes.
So we still won't have a record of Nothri being ever used by a human?
No, because if you look at the he got his information off of page 386 of this book. Mm-hmm. But if you actually go in and you look at the table of contents, the source that book uses is the same source that was cited in the first example, which was the genealogies from the Book of Leinster.
So this book was going off of the assumption that it was a human name as well, just like the submitter was initially.
So anyway, it's Nothri. N-A-T-H-R-I is what he wants?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, hold on a second. Just curious. Oh. 1,000 to 1650. Probably no chance in hell, but we'll find out anyway.
Good night.
No chance in hell. It's coming back with Nathaniel. Okay. This is kind of a moral decision at this point. If you send it up, at least he could get a holding name for his device. If you return it, you'll probably go through another cycle of this.
Right, which he has. He has a nice device.
And the other thing about sending it up is they may be able to document it better than we can with our resources. Mm-hmm. So there's a chance that he may still ultimately get what he wants.
Right.
But even if not, we can still protect his device under holding name, and then he can figure out what he wants to do with his.
Yeah.
Unless he's.
I agree with this line of thinking. I think though what we might need to do is make a note that the source that he's using is suspect.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I put the that information in my comment that I made under the name.
Right. I'm gonna pull from that when I write my write up.
It didn't grab the whole link because of the spaces, but I put the link in there,
Okay.
but it cut it off.
All right.
So just when.
I mean, some god names actually wind up getting used or used in combination or something, but apparently this one wasn't. Who knows? Maybe somebody will find it.
We can at least protect this device, though.
Yeah, his device is legal. It doesn't look like anybody was signing conflict. Let's see.
No one really found any conflicts the first time it came through. It's just that it was not drawn to where the posture was really identifiable.
Well, the one here at the top that's an obviously passant animal. It will get an artist note. It's not a really great dog, but it's still doggy enough that it can go forward.
Yep.
Doggy-esque.
Yeah,
right.
Doggy-esque.
So moving on to number 39. We have
inverted. Okay.
We have an Arabic name here.
Kayla bint Amir,
which is already registered. We're
Yes.
just looking at the badge.
Yes, thank you. I was so taken with the name, I did not even look at. So we're just looking at a badge.
This is my wife's pelican.
Okay. Which, Ian, remember the one gentle that we were talking with at the consult table? This kind of helps a little bit with hers. Because remember, she wanted an inverted Hannah Fatima as well.
Yeah.
There are several that are registered.
So.
Okay. The eye should be bigger. You can make it bigger by putting it lower. That's artist note land. But Hannah Fatima is a perfectly good charge, and stick it. And you can stick a tertiary on it. And
yeah.
So this is something that should go forward.
Yeah, there's no reason for it not to really go up. So 39 makes its way up.
Yay!
Oh my goodness! It is a displayed owl that's looking like it's been in shock.
I was going to go with some other state of mind, but sure, we'll go with shock.
Again, this is a correction. This is actually a resub, not a new device. The reason for the initial return.
Well, technically, going forward to Laurel, it's a new device because it was returned at the Kingdom.
Yeah, true.
Yes, that's correct.
And it is a resub at Kingdom.
Yes, it
yes,
is.
But going up to Laurel, it's going to
be a new device. So.
Right.
Oscar wasn't behaving when I was putting this letter together.
You were probably losing your mind having to put in 51 entries.
That too, yeah.
Every once in a while, Oscar blows up. Oscar blows up on a regular basis when I'm doing comments. It's just does bizarre things. Anyway, these are Triskelies.
Yes. The problem where we had with the device is that it actually had two steps from period practices. One being a non-eagle bird displayed, and the second being that the Triskelies had spirals. They removed the spirals, so now we're only down to one.
So it's going forward land.
Yes.
And the eagle wasn't displayed before because the legs were not
Yeah, it was
displayed,
a
and that's
straight
been fixed as well.
Yeah, so it is a correct display, even though it's for an owl, which they'll get a step for period practice for.
right.
So they fixed the issues, basically. Looks like.
All right. So 40 goes up.
Okay. Oh no.
41.
Oh, I see what they are. They're seahorses. And
Yes.
they're even, looks like they're even correct seahorses. No, yeah.
I got them from Mistholm.
There's a redraw below that has the chief bigger and the seahorses bigger.
Oh, thank you. Do send up the redraw, not the original.
Yeah,
the redraw is much better.
Yeah. Now I have a question, and this is the reason why I was having trouble. I mean, I would have liked to get it as big as the redraw was doing, but when I was initially doing, I mean, where do we fall into the lines of a chief becoming a fess? Because I was trying to stay what I believe was the 1/3 area.
Yes, and you're right. The redraws, it looks like the top of the humps look like they're a little bit lower than 1/3, maybe. So yeah, I see what your problem is, but there's serious problem with the original. So somewhere in between would be good.
I mean, I agree. Yeah, I mean, even with my original, I was having a problem making it big, but I was trying to definitely was in the safety zone. Where I do love Fiora's redraw, you know, I was just not bold enough to take that much of an approach to it.
Yeah, I think this is really hard to do. I don't think it's a particularly good design for that reason. It would be much better if they maybe reversed the castle and the horses, maybe. I don't know.
I think the tops of the hills are right about the 1/3 mark on the shield. So if nothing else, it's not too egregious, so it'll probably just get an artist note. I don't think we should not submit it because of that.
No,
I'm not advocating that either. I am personally, from an artist standpoint, trying to get trying to educate.
Right.
So when you have arches like that, is it better to go from the top of the arch or the bottom of the arch?
Technically, the middle of the arch.
Okay.
Just like with the chevron.
Okay. Thank y'all.
And so basically, the top one could be shifted down. The bottom one should probably be shifted up. In any case, those poor seahorses, which are lovely seahorses, are squashed so much that they're hard to recognize.
Yeah. So I'll show the submitter the redraw, and we'll send it up from there.
And the chief on the redraw is absolutely the largest that I would consider doing it.
Right.
Yeah, in fact, it's marginally big at that point, because again, you're supposed to go and draw lines through the middle of the humps.
All right.
Name change.
And again, going up to Laurel, this should be a new name change, not a resub, because it was kicked back at the Kingdom last month.
Sibyl Ingen Tomas.
Tomias, I think.
Okay.
I think you're wrong on that. I couldn't.
Well, it does have the accent, so that's why I'm really leaning towards what you might be saying because of the accent.
Let's see. CBR, family different name, found Irish names. O'Connor and McGuire. I don't know. We don't really accept O'Connor and McGuire these days. That's not really acceptable documentation at this point. They really need to get it from the Irish Annals.
But is there a chance they'll accept it? That's where
there's a chance that it'll be acceptable. Are they allowing changes?
Yes.
Okay, then you can set it up. The documentation really isn't good enough, but for Sibel, the other one is the Irish Annals. Tomias is good. Okay, they have to make sure that the time periods match because that changes.
Mm-hmm.
So CBL does not have a good source. Even though, well, it's actually a dated entry in O'Connor and McGuire, so it has a chance.
Yeah.
O'Connor and McGuire is still listed on the no photocopy list.
No, yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. All that the no photocopy list means is that you don't have to send photocopies, not that it's accepted.
Yeah.
Well, if it's not been accepted, it should be taken off.
Well, it's on a case-by-case basis because a lot of the examples aren't dated, so you can't really use that for documentation. But this one has a date, so
it's got enough of a chance that I agree it's probably worth sending forward. But people should be told to avoid using O'Connor and McGuire for documentation because it's not considered reliable these days. The no photocopy just means that enough senior heralds have copies that you don't have to send photocopies.
All right, so we'll go ahead and send it up since it is a dated source. 43, Sophia Berkeley. Gee, that person's not familiar at all.
I think this is a terrible device. I think we should kick it back. Oh, I'm just kidding.
Well,
just kidding, Sophia.
You're gonna get some people objecting to the Mr. L being perched on the co-primary. That you're going to have people objecting to. How do you blazon? Azure and L. Argent's estate. No, it's not. People will probably think that this is a co-primary and not a sustained secondary.
Because it's a large.
It's large enough.
Reblazon it as an owl argent perched on a flame ore.
Say impale, and you say conjoined.
Okay.
And see how it goes. I think that people are going to argue about whether this is a primary and a secondary. I think there's a good chance that a whole bunch of people will be arguing that these are co-primaries. And then people will start saying things about, well, whether this is barely overall, blah, 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 blah. But,
And we have to back up for a second because we never really fully looked at the name either yet.
Oh, okay. Sophia Berkeley. Sophia blah, blah.
My only question is this: I know C batch is good, so we don't have any problem there.
No, it's a P batch.
I know. I'm saying the last name is the C batch, but P batch. I couldn't remember if P batch was good.
Well, we can look it up. Hold on. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh,
P batch is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was good. B and C. Some of the M's, the K's I remember are good. So I think P's good. Yeah.
All right. So P and C are good. So that knocks that one because they're.
So the name is righteous.
They're within 30 years of each other, so it's perfectly fine. So name checks out. So you think and pale and owl.
Impale and conjoined, or conjoined and pale. An L argent and a flame ore.
Do we need to specify the posture of the owl?
No.
The owl, that's the default posture for an owl.
Okay.
That is a righteous owl.
And of course, the reblazon that Iago put in there about the chief being indented, not Dancetti, because it's only got one side.
Right. So.
And it's got flurries on it.
Yeah.
So Azure in Azure in Impale.
Azure, Impale, conjoined. Or Impale and conjoined.
Yeah.
Join an owl, argent. And a flame ore.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think I may be totally incorrect that flame is more in primary land than it is in secondary land.
We'll find out what they.
Well, like you said, once we send it up, if they'll
change
it, and they'll change it if they need to.
Yeah.
That's why they get paid the big bucks.
Yeah. So we'll go to number 44, Stella D. Sibels. Is it the last one?
Yep. It is the last one.
Wow.
Yay.
We're doing very well. We've only been in meeting for an hour and 40 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing fairly well.
That looks like an excellent device.
I'm not a big fan of 7-pointed mullets, but it does look good.
Yes, Purple, Chevron, Azure, and Sable, a mullet of 7 points, or and a border argent.
That is one of the best drawn 7-pointed mullets I've seen in years.
Rosman was wondering if the Chevron might be
Well, that's one that I traced off of the computer-generated original.
That's why it looks so good.
Rosman was wondering if the Chevron might have been too high.
Yeah, it's a tad high. It can shift down, but I don't think it's to the point.
But Michael Girard comes back and sounds that it's precisely centered vertical. So
it might be. Let's see. I think the center of the mullet is above the fest line. We always have to go with the fest line.
The point of the per chevron field division is a decent bit above the fest line. It's kind of hard to tell because it's got this whopping huge star sitting on top of it.
Oh, that too. So the vision. Right. No, I'm thinking about I was thinking of the mullet. The mullet's high. The field division, yeah, it looks like it's probably centered.
Yeah. Okay.
But the mullet, I think, could shift down.
And Lucian, you found no conflicts.
No, I conflict checked this bad boy at Crown List when we did the consultation table, and I double checked it again. Just to make sure that nothing squeaked by in the interim.
Yeah, because this is the third time that this one has come to Kingdom.
Yes, it is.
Has it made it out of Kingdom before?
No, it has not made it out of Kingdom.
Well, I think it's time to send it up to the world to be the bad one.
I think.
No, it didn't.
No, it isn't.
Because the first one had the big star surrounded by the small stars, which was
with sword and dagger, and the second one was unblazonable.
Yeah, but her name went up and got registered.
Yes,
right.
The first time.
All right. So we send that one up, and ladies and gentlemen, that actually concludes tonight's letter. Thank you for sticking around with me. Thank you for helping us get through this, and having a couple of time warps and jumping down a whole bunch of letters. we hope to see everyone next month. And for everyone watching, thank you for staying around. And have a good night. See you next month.